Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where we take a random prompt and we build an entire world around it, usually. My name is Casey, and as always, I'm joined by Isaac, who's going to explain how this time is the exception to the norm.
So, today we decided that instead of creating an entire world, we are going to be creating a fantasy creature. One creature. That's all the world building we're doing today. And it's a creature that I asked an AI art generator to create for us. Because I'm like, I want to come up with some inspiration for unique fantasy creatures in my writing and world building and stuff. And so I told it, hey, give me some ideas for unique fantasy creatures. And it spat out this horrific thing. And I said, yep, I'm gonna save that for later.
Yeah, so for those who can't see,
and for those who aren't listening, or not listening, those who can't see,
you're gonna kind of just get an idea as we describe and develop the creature. But if you really want like a picture to see the AI image, just hop to like our YouTube channel, or I think Spotify does a video thing, so you can see it there in video form as well. So just go look at one of those. But otherwise, you should still be able to get an idea of what this creature looks like as we're building it up more. Because right now we're looking at a furry, weird. It's got a creature, and it's almost got like two halves. So it's got like this one half which has four legs in the body, and then there's like a long neck that then turns into two, like the front legs, and then that forms into another neck that then turns into a face that kind of looks like Star Fox from that old video game. But
yeah,
like,
it does look.
horror.
It looks sort of triangular.
Yeah, but horrifying. Like, and then he's very monotone, like very gray, light brown. He looks like he could blend in a cave or like a more rocky terrain. And he's fluffy, but like scraggly fluffy, like that Chihuahua
old
you
dog.
found off. Yeah, I was gonna say that old dog, or like that Chihuahua you found abandoned on the street.
He's also got these weird feet. Like they're these weird claw-like feet where they aren't even.
They look like
they're not like
branches.
any. Yeah, they're not like any feet or claws that like I've seen on any creature before.
You know what it looks like? It looks like this creature could hide inside a cave which has holes in it and just stick his arms out and lay them flat, and they look like branches. And then some animal passes by, and suddenly it can just grab you and pull you in.
That is that's an interesting use of these limbs and how it can blend in and snag its prey.
That's what it looks like, because they look like withered wood.
They're also very, very pointy. Like they have multiple points where it looks like really long, very solid looking thorns almost.
It's the type of thing where if you're just walking around and not paying attention, you would just like, oh, wood, and keep walking. But if you were to really look at it, you'd be like, wait a second, there's something off here. That's weird. What is this new plant I discovered? You poke it and then you die.
Yeah, pretty much. Which that actually is an interesting thing that we could bring up. What if this was a poisonous creature? Where
I think that's closer to venomous, but sure, is what we're going for.
Probably venomous. I was just thinking like you poke the creature like on its sharp points, and you're injected with its poison or its venom.
Yeah, or it could do it to you, like it could stab you.
Yeah, I just imagine this being a very horrific creature to encounter.
Oh, this is a
dangerous creature. This is like one of the last things in whatever fantasy world you're entering that you want to come across.
But it honestly also looks like one of those creatures that the villain, that mass army villain would ride.
Yeah, kind of. Only I don't imagine it being that big, is the thing. I imagine it being about the size of a tiger. Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, you could still ride that. But it's got like a thick body aspect of it. before it goes into the weird long neck thing. The long neck, I think this thing tried to combine like a wolf and like a classic Chinese dragon.
That is kind of what it looks like.
And then they also said dead tree. And then you got this. So those are the three things I think about when I see this. I think wolf, Chinese dragon, and dead tree.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum it up.
Which
So, yeah. So what do we know? Do you want to go with the poisonous thing? Does this thing actually poison people, or do we want to?
I think the interesting part though about like it's the poison is the fact that it's just in the legs.
Okay, so the rest of it's not poisonous or venomous. It's just the legs.
Yeah, I don't think he has like a poisonous bite or even that his fur is. Like his fur kind of has a point to it, but I think that's just another self-defense thing more so than anything else, but like his feet,
It's just to keep
his legs
creatures from attacking his back.
Yeah. He's very defensible. He doesn't have a tail, which is interesting.
Oh, he does. You're right. He doesn't.
I approve. There's too many tails in the world.
Yeah, that is interesting. And yeah, I mean, would he even need a tail? I mean, tails are often used for like to help creatures balance or help show
He
emotion.
has
I don't think he
6
needs
legs. I think he's good.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I can't see a reason why he would need a tail.
Yeah. I just want to note, like his those 2 middle legs are probably so strong. Like his back 4 legs are probably way stronger than his front 2, especially considering he's the type of creature. So the way he looks like, it looks like he can go from running on 6 legs to running on 4, but that involves him lifting up a lot of weight. Like we're talking giraffe style. Like it's a disproportional giraffe. Like he has an extremely long neck with 2 arms attached to it. Like, I think his neck, that second half, like the neck with the front arms, is longer than his actual body is. By quite a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is actually longer. So, he can, really get down on the ground. He can fit in, like, lower areas. He can also get taller and tower over his opponent. I imagine he moves very quickly.
Yeah.
And he can camouflage, so this is a scary creature. What else? I imagine...
I know, he also has, like, these snake vibes. Like, he can, like, turn his head around corners really well.
Probably. I mean, he's with that long neck, it could probably be very flexible. I wouldn't be surprised if we could do, like, a whole owl head turn, like, just 360.
Oh, he could do that multiple times. Do you see the size of that neck? Especially if you count, like, the arms are just attached to the neck. That's how that's just what he looks like, guys. He has 2 arms attached to his neck. It's not attached to his body, they're attached to his neck. He's got it looks honestly kind of normal for him, like it fits with his aesthetic, like this is a really cool looking creature, but that is what it is.
Okay, so what else could we do? This something I imagine was like the way that this thing would hunt. Like, I imagine him seeing his prey, and he could either run on all 6 legs to quickly reach him, or maybe he could run a little bit slower on all 4, but still pretty fast. And he just towers up over his opponent, like lifts up his neck and his head, and reaches out his arms as if he's gonna give you a big hug. And I imagine letting out this like screeching sound as he grabs you, and he could like start clawing at you, like as he holds you there. It could pin you to the ground after that. His entire body is like covered in fur and some like sharp areas, and so just him like clenching you could make a lot of tiny puncture wounds. Not enough to kill you, but enough to seriously hurt.
He has fuzzy porcupine fur.
Yeah, he's a lot like a porcupine.
Especially, like, closer. His neck itself, I kind of think it's interesting, like, his face doesn't have those. He just has, like, the long hair in the face, and then even his neck has less. But then, like, the closer you are to the back, where I assume most of his main organs are, like his stomach and his heart are in that body area, that's where he has the most of the spiky things. Like, his weak point is definitely his neck, like, in between his 4 legs and his 2 arms. Like there's a big weak point there.
Yeah, and it really is a pretty good sized weak point. Like if he's towering like at full height over you, if you take a
You just
sword
slice it.
and you slice it, he's dead.
Yeah. So like
that
against
is
the
the way to kill him.
person, it's terrifying to see. He's very good at sneak attacks, but I don't think this isn't a boss level creature. This is just a a thing to like create some tension because this road trip story you're writing is taking too long, and you want to express time passing with mini adventures, and he's a mini adventure.
Something to build you up to the boss, something to prepare you for the boss.
Or again, he's being ridden by like some horrible, more human, like more sentient creature, and so he's like a mount in that aspect. Like a smaller minion creature.
Goblins
can ride them. Yeah, goblins. A goblin would totally ride this.
So something else I'm thinking is this creature, if you were towering, we were talking about the sword being able to take him out, but if he weren't doing that full height thing, and he were just to lean forward a little bit, that portion of his neck wouldn't be as vulnerable. Now his forearms and his head would still be vulnerable, and you could still hit that. But if you miss and then he just lunges at you, you're probably dead.
Yeah.
Like I think this thing could kill you quick. You must keep in mind he's poisonous, so even if you do manage to escape his grasp and kill him,
I'm gonna be a stickler unless he's venomous.
Yeah, venomous, poisonous. I've heard of both. Okay, so he's venomous.
They're different. Yeah.
So he what do you call it then? I could say you poisoned the person, but no, he venoms the person.
It's still poisoned, but he's not poisonous.
Well, then why are they not used interchangeably?
Because poison means, like, if you touch them, you're infected. Well, venomous means that they actually have to, like, inject you, which is what he does. He injects you.
Okay, so once you've been injected by his venom,
you are then poisoned by him.
You are then poisoned by... Okay, that's sure. I don't like English.
So you can be poisoned by him.
I don't like... I get it, I just don't like English. English sucks. Anyway. So he's venomous, and when he poisons you, you might be able to get away, and you might even kill him, but will you survive? Like, what are the effects of his venom?
I don't know. Is he the type of creature that would like to just drug? Oh, well, here's the thing. Is this a I like fresh meat creature or a I can scavenge creature?
I'm wondering about either one. Oh, something I just thought about.
Because a scavenge type creature tends to kill instantly. Well, a more like I like fresh meat will do things like stun. So that's why like spiders, they don't actually like most of their venom doesn't actually kill creatures. It just kind of stuns, or in humans' cases, because we're big, it just irritates. It's because they drink the blood, and so they want it to be fresh, and therefore they just stun creatures. Unlike snakes, which will just eat you whole kind of right then and there, or don't mind coming across a more dead creature and will just eat it whole, their venom is made to actually kill.
Something I thought about when you're talking about it, scavenging and stuff, was its long neck. And at first, originally I was thinking, oh, maybe this is something that uses its long neck to reach the high up leaves and trees or something, but I thought, it doesn't look like a vegetarian to me. This looks like a meat eater. But then I thought, what if it hunted for birds' nests, and it ate birds' eggs?
I don't know. Something interesting though about its teeth is that it doesn't have very sharp teeth. It has a lot of them, but they're not like sharp.
The teeth are kind of hard to see because
but what would I look like though? Like they look more like human style teeth, so we have like some pointy teeth within, but we're not like a full blown grind fest. He has like the teeth of like if you're doing a study versus like carnivore, omnivore, and herbivore. He has a more omnivore teeth, which is a mix between fruit, like plant life and meat.
Yeah, so he could be. He could be an omnivore.
Yeah, it could be a fun twist.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely
You know?
looks like a meat eater, but
Like, you find this, like, horrible creature, and sure, it eats meat, and it likes meat. It's yummy. But at the same time, if you found one, like, as a young, like, a little guy, um, you find this little version of it, and you start feeding it, like, you could turn it vegetarian in a way.
yeah, I mean, if you trained it enough where you just give it a bunch of fruits and veggies, that could work.
Yeah. I like the idea of it being an omnivore. I think there's more story potential with that.
Yeah. Now, how how do you tame one of these? Because we're talking about goblins riding them. How do goblins tame these things?
Well, for one, maybe like goblins have a natural immunity to the poison, to the venom and stuff, so that might help.
Oh, that's interesting. So yeah,
Either that or like the, yeah. So that probably helps them. I don't know. We never get like a villain taming pet montage in like movies or shows.
I mean, we got
Like Lord of the Rings, they've got those cool wyvern things, but we don't know how they tamed them. They just have them.
well, we got Draco Bloodfist taming dragons by screaming at them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Draco Bloodfist from How to Train Your Dragon 2.
How You Train Your Dragon. Yeah, but like, that was established, like, that dragon. This is like a purely like more evil-based creature. It just seems like evil creatures are attracted to. It's weird. It's like in fantasy worlds, there's this whole thing where like good-related creatures are attracted to being tamed by good people, while evil-associated creatures are attracted to being tamed by evil creatures.
Yeah, have you noticed that? Because
Yeah.
it really is a common
It's a
trend.
thing.
Like you always
And we
have.
tend not to question it.
Yeah, like I mean, Gandalf rides in on the beautiful white horse. I'm trying to. What was the horse's name?
I don't know.
Storm. For some reason, comes to my mind. Was Storm part of the name?
Maybe it was like Stormbreaker or something.
I don't think it was Storm. That was Thor's hammer.
Oh, axe, but yeah.
Or yeah, axe, hammer, whatever.
Sorry, didn't mean to correct your correction of me.
I mean, doesn't it have like an axe blade on one end and hammer on the other?
Oh, I don't know.
Shadowfax, that's
Okay.
what his name was.
Oh, did you look up the horse name?
Yes.
I was about to do that, so fair.
Yeah, it's Shadowfax.
Yeah.
No wonder I couldn't remember it. It's such a weird name.
Either way, like, I kind of love the idea of in a story, like, this creature, I almost want this creature to actually be the hero's mount.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you never see that happen.
I think he'd be such a cool mount. Like, I think he'd be so, like, fun for adventures and, like, really a creepy, scary thing.
Now, you have to keep in... Oh, I just thought about something. I was thinking about how you have to keep in mind that the reason people don't generally have the scary, dark creatures as the heroes or the heroes' pets is because it sort of reinforces the idea of evil equals good, or evil can be used for good, and all of that. And it's sort of when you start blurring the lines intentionally between good and evil, even when something is like a pure evil, like for example, saying, oh, we can use witchcraft for good, when witchcraft is definitely not a thing that you want to be using, even if you think it's for good. I think that's just sort of the general idea as to why you don't usually see a hero writing something like this. But I did think about something. What if the hero was a former villain and this was his starting point? And so...
Oh.
Yeah.
And now, but like obviously he wants to take the creature with him.
Yes, and I'm just thinking this is a pretty good way of like the hero starting off with a creature like this, and you could even see like the creature itself having an arc alongside the hero as they go off on their adventure, struggling to change from their old ways.
Yeah. it's suddenly like you look at this picture and you're not like wholesome story, but I look at this picture and I see wholesome story. That's the thing. I see like cute fluffy things and I want to turn them deadly, and then I see like deadly things and I want to turn them cute and fluffy.
Yes.
I just can't. That's just. I'm not sure people have caught on to that. I'm sure they have by now. But that is a thing I just love doing. So the idea of turning this into like a cute fluffy thing. Let's just comb his hair. Get him onto like a fruit diet. He could still have meat. Like, we still hunt and eat meat.
Yeah, he could definitely still, you could go catch a deer or something. You just don't have it hunt humans.
Yeah. He could still eat. He'll hunt for you, which I think will be great.
I mean, the problem is, if he poisons a creature, I am using that word correctly, if he poisons a creature,
you are.
Then, you might not be able to eat that creature. We never did establish what the poison does exactly. What the venom does.
No, we didn't. Let's go back to let's go back to venom development. So again, the thing is, like, is this a thing that wears off and then you can kill the creature? In which case, then yeah, definitely you can eat it afterwards, or something, or otherwise only this creature could. Or is it something like that insta kills? But even then, like, the thing about venom is it's mostly associated with the blood. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why you're not supposed to like eat and drink blood and things like that, is because things can get into the bloodstream that then could make you sick more so than in the meat itself. So I'm pretty sure whichever version of venom this guy uses, it's probably still safe as long as you drain the blood and you cook the blood out of it thoroughly. You're just not allowed like a rare steak. You gotta have a well done one.
What if the venom's effects? What if we tried to make the venom a little bit more unique? Like, what if it had an effect like blindness?
Oh.
Now I can't imagine
how
it
would. Saying like this is.
I was thinking like I was thinking temporary.
Yeah.
But it would be long enough that the effects would be taken on pretty quickly, like probably within a minute. You would go blind, but then after, I don't know, probably a couple hours, you'd be fine.
Yeah. I want to say, like, causing blindness like that is not difficult to explain scientifically. It just means that the venom is attracted to certain enzymes that are associated with a site, and they can block them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not complicated to explain that.
I mean, you don't even need to explain it in your fantasy world. You could say the venom causes blindness and be done. You don't need to explain the science of it.
People will accept that. Yeah, but I'm saying, like,
if someone
I'm saying it's because. How? Yeah, but also my whole point there was more so that like it's something that we as a society understand can happen, and therefore when someone says, "Oh, this venom causes blindness," all of us are like, "Yep, believable. Moving on."
Yeah. Now,
like you don't have to explain it because it makes sense to us.
Something I'm thinking about is how would it use this in combat, because once it's on you and you are poisoned, you're probably already dead. Like, it's not like it's throwing a poison dagger and then blinding you over time from a range and then getting you. Like, it's already on you, and within a minute, by the time you'd be blind, it could have already killed you. So, I'm thinking...
Oh, maybe it's just, preventive in case it manages to, like, escape. Because here's the thing, like, looking at his feet, he does not have a strong grip.
That's true. Like, it does not look like he could grip
anything.
It
could...
It would more shred you, if anything.
So I honestly think, like, how he attacks is he stabs you, turns you blind, and then he tries to grab you with his head. But the whole thing is, like, one of his means of hunting is pretending to be that branch with his feet, and, like, or as a bush or, like, a dead tree or something. And, like, using his features to look like something else. And then in that case he stabbed you, the thing goes blind, and all of a sudden you're not moving as fast, you're a lot easier to hunt, you can't really fight back because you can't see anything, you're dead, he can now kill you easily.
Yeah, so he's just like hiding away, waiting to hit anyone who comes by, and then just wait, so he's got an easier target. Like,
yeah,
that is...
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that works. And like I said, he doesn't have much of a grip. I think he could still grab onto stuff, like, with his forearms and his neck and things and grab, but he doesn't have like hands. Essentially, he cannot grab anything with his claws or his paws.
I
or
think
whatever
he
they
has
are.
like a good sturdy grip in like rocks and stuff, like climbing up things and things. He's got like a grip, but it's a grip more in the sense of he can like embed his claws into things to keep walking up. Less so of a thing like he can grab something and hold it and move it. Like he could firmly plant himself on the ground, but he's not going to be able to pick up that stone and throw it anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Maybe with his mouth.
That sounds accurate to this guy.
Yeah, his toes don't move very much.
Now, I do have to ask something, and this is because this is something that you asked a while back about a different fantasy creature that we had implemented. Can we milk it?
Yeah.
Can I,
That's a great
if
question.
I were to get a female of this creature, can I milk it, and would it be safe, or would it have any effects on me, and how would it taste?
Huh. Is this like a mammal-like creature? Does it give live births?
It looks like a mammal-like creature.
I would say I'm looking at this. I'm like, yeah, I'd say it gives live births. It gives that vibe. In which case, I guess yes, it does have it.
And now, okay, so
okay,
now...
hear me out. Hear me out here. Would it be weird? It might be like it could be like another weak point of them almost. For one, I don't think these creatures have the best eyesight in general. Like, look at all that hair in front of their eyes. But for a second, like, what if like these creatures as children were like raised up blind because they drank their mother's milk and it also caused blindness, and they gain their eyesight when they're older, when they start actually eating meat or vegetables or like other food.
That is
that's
interesting.
like not an uncommon thing for mammals, because a lot of dogs are born like you start off like dogs start off blind and then develop eyesight later outside.
I like that idea.
Again, this is part wolf. So yes, you could drink the milk, but it would have also cause blindness. But if you're desperate...
So I just thought about something. Imagine the hero, like the hero that was like a former villain and everything, riding into town and is in desperate need of some money. And still being like sort of a morally great character, but not willing to just kill people for their money, because trying to turn over a new leaf and everything, decides to milk his creature. And then...
Okay, so now it's a female.
Yeah, now it's a female, so he decides to milk his creature, and then he sells it to some of the locals. And they're like, oh, wow, this milk is delicious. It's got a strange flavor to it. It's like, where'd you get this? After he's paid him, it's like, oh, it came from that thing. It came from where? And then he's like, okay,
I can't see anymore. I've gone blind.
Bye now. As they start to go blind, like, it's like, it'll wear off later. But, but what would be really funny is if some people like objected to it and they got really upset that he did this, but he got away because they're blind, they can't chase him. But then imagine if later on, one of the people he sold the milk to comes back into his life at some point. It's like, hey, you're the guy who sold me that blindness milk. It's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Now that he's probably had his character arc and he's grown a little bit more and he wouldn't do that anymore. It's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. I will give you back your money and more. And he says, no, I'm here to buy more of it. That stuff was delicious.
So, like, it's really good milk, but the side effect is you do go blind.
It's only temporary. It's worth going blind for a few hours.
Honestly, though, like, wait, that's actually, like, a really interesting idea, though, is, you know, it's not... These creatures, I don't think sight is something these creatures heavily rely on. I think they're more of, like, a hearing, scent type thing. Like, they can see, but it's like me without my glasses. It's not grand, guys. And they rely on, like, other senses. So could it be, like, the milk actually, in these young little guys, actually increase their other senses by decreasing their sight, and that's just something the milk does. But the poison of it, which could be interesting, it could mean that like the females are the only ones that are venomous, and that the males aren't.
Oh,
Because that is a thing in some.
that is interesting.
So it's a thought, and it could be that the males have like a different type of defense. Like maybe the whole thing is like males aren't rideable, because their hair is actual like more spiked and more deadly in that sense. So they're deadly on like
a more physical direct encounter sort of aspect.
Yeah, like if they like pummel into you, they can stab you with every aspect of their body. And it's stab to kill. Well, a female who's more focused on like, raising the kids and the family, they have that more like blinding poison aspect, so that way they can stay with the kids and just be like a more calm hunter and a surprise hunter. Well, the males can go out and actually physically attack things and bring things back.
Yeah, so like either one, like so if you are going up against one of these things, you are going to want to know whether or not you are going up against a male or a female, and so you have to like have a keen eye and be able to like look at its physical features and to be able to identify, okay, am I going up against something that will blind me or something that will pummel me? Like you get like that's is a key thing for hunters to learn and keep in mind. Otherwise, they don't know what to expect.
But going back to the milk thing, like the whole thing is because they fed on this milk. The milk is strong, has like all these nutrients things, but it's also kind of mixed with the female's poison or venom. So they have weaker eyesight, but they have like better hearing and better sense, which means that if the hero was to drink this milk, well, their eyesight might decrease. They might have increase in other things, and it's not like you lose your eyesight permanently. So it's still like worth having seasons of blindness to have like increase in other nutrients. And then the way that the poison works is that the poison just siphons out that specific part of the milk that blinds, and like has a high concentration of that and uses that. So like it even like scientifically it makes more sense autonomically, which I personally really like, is when you can explain the creature's like insides and how their body's working better.
Could you eventually develop an immunity to this venom though?
Like the blindness aspect of it? Possibly. That could be an interesting, especially if like the main character is just no longer blind by it but gets all the like benefits.
Yeah. Like I think that would be interesting. Like he's just spent so much time going blind that like he's become immune, but in the process of becoming immune, he's also increased in other senses.
Yeah. He's better for it. Which means why these creatures are such like a valued companion, especially a female.
Yeah, and that could be another thing that
I don't think the males are as valuable.
That could be another thing in terms of like the creature and raising its young. Like if like maybe the babies eventually develop an immunity, and once they've developed that immunity, they start collecting food and stuff all on their own. And at that point, the mother says, "Oh, okay, I guess I don't need to nurse you anymore."
Yeah, that would make sense actually, and a good timing point. So over time, you just develop immunity to it. So that means like the people who are raised with these creatures, they also have like they're used to having a childhood where they're blind a lot because they drink the milk a lot to gain like that strength, and then eventually you become immune to it and you're good to go. But
yeah,
lose your eyesight for like a year, and then afterwards you have it back. You can drink the milk whenever, and you've got like extra cool human bonuses.
Yeah, and then you go and you feed it to someone else says, "Hey, can I have some of that?" And you're like, "Sure," totally forgetting that it causes blindness.
They have like a whole panic attack and you're like, "Oh shoot, no, it goes away in a few hours. I'm so sorry. I'm immune to it. I don't think about it anymore." But look, he's even like got comedic relief things she has now.
Yeah, I like this creature.
I was like, let's build a horror creature. And now I'm sitting here like, let's build a really cool pet.
Yeah, and we got like the basis of like a story for it. It's not like a fully developed story or anything, but it's a good start. Like the villain turning hero riding this creature.
Yeah. I like that it has like male and female differences, like most animals do, and that they make sense.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty darn
It's cool.
well-developed creature. We haven't come up with a name for it, though. That's always the big
Oh,
thing for us, is coming up with names. How about, Will Strike? Does it actually have anything to do with trees, or just look that way?
I found a word that's like mortium.
Mortium? I've heard that before. What is... Is that like the Latin word for mortal?
It's like related. It's actually closer to like I looked up like the Latin word for dead tree, and mortium was one of the words. So it's kind of like dead, die. So it's Latin for like death or to wither away. So mortium, but it's got like two U's. So it's mortuum.
Mortium. I kind of like that.
It looks like a mortium. I do too. And it has like it's associated with like death and dead.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it like being associated with blindness.
He looks like it's on the edge of death at all time.
So this creature is called a mortium, and
we did it. We gave it a name.
Is mortium? I guess.
I think this is just a mortium, like it's plural.
Yeah, like kind of like bison.
It's like sheep or bison, sheep. Yeah.
Or fish. Actually, I think fishes is also grammatically correct.
Fishies.
But yeah, this is a mortium. We did it. We built a full-blown creature, including its name. This is a first.
I'm like,
we're like always missing the name, and sometimes we're like, we don't have an actual good design. We're like, it looks kind of like a walrus-ish, but no. We got a full-blown new creature, unique look, unique attributes, unique way of attacking it, good story. This is a fully developed fantasy creature.
We've explained how it raises its young. We explained the difference between male and female. We've discussed milking it.
Yeah, we've gone as far as milking this thing. By the way, for anyone wondering, the creature that she asked if we could milk before was a Kirin. She had no idea what a Kirin was at the time. I had to explain it to her and introduce it to her.
That was the best part about that video.
The fact that she didn't know what the
like the whole magic milk.
We created magic milk. It was great.
It was a good time. That was it's one of our oldest stuff. So it's, but if you're wondering, it's our fantasy, like world building a fantasy part 1 is where the Kirin is. They make an appearance in part 2, and both parts are good. But like part 1 is where we have like a whole sideline of about talking about truth-telling milk.
Yeah, and it also had something to do with trees.
Good times. Yeah, because there was like the animals associated with the tree.
Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave this off. Like, we have created a full-blown, epic fantasy creature.
I want one as a pet.
You
could see me with one of these, couldn't you? Like riding it around town.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied with this.
I'm happy. I love it.
Now, can we do this again with another creature and actually manage to give it a name?
I think this is a good activity then. I definitely think we'll do more of like just animal building and doing that, because I think that's something we struggle with. Like, we get on talking about creatures and then we kind of just do a basic and then jump back into like other world elements because we're building a full world. So I think it's good every now and then if we be like, you know what, let's just build a creature to that.
Yeah.
It's still world building. It's an important part.
And I mean, I'm always looking to build unique fantasy creatures. I think that's one of the most interesting part of fantasy worlds is a unique fantasy creature or multiple unique fantasy creatures.
Even sci-fi worlds too.
Yeah.
This is definitely more of a fantasy creature, but we could dive into some sci-fi creatures too.
I tried to build a sci-fi world one time. It turned into spaghetti. I went in thinking, hey, Cassie, we're going to be building a sci-fi world today with a bunch of asteroids. Like, that's our world. It's like, it's made of like asteroids that are moving around and stuff. And she's like, what if it were spaghetti?
I'm so sorry. My brain is weird.
It worked though.
But
It
this
was
is,
still an interesting world.
it did. I like that world too. I like, yeah, but that's where we're gonna end it today. We'll be back next week with yet another world and another prompt and another exciting adventure to develop. So hopefully we'll see you then. But bye.
Adios.